Hi, good afternoon, everybody. So this is going to be the essential technology toolbox. And although they're probably not all essential, I might have shot a little high with that one. They're pretty good. The first one is this timer that you can put a YouTube video on. And I kind of like that. It's at classtools.net. And they actually have a lot of different tools. I wasn't going to talk about this one, but we're here, so I might as well. Consider it a bonus. I like to do that at the beginning of my presentations to give everybody some time to get adjusted and to give myself a little audio cue that I have a few minutes left. And the Muppets are just fun, so I figured that would be good. Hope everyone had a good morning. And so let's get started with the Technology Toolkit, Essential Technology Toolkit. And during it, if anyone has anything to ask or wants to add to the conversation, please just shout out. So a lot of these tools are on the Faces on Fire manual that came out last year. So might want to check that out if it's sitting somewhere in your downloads or your OneDrive. It's definitely worth looking at, and it shows examples of what we'll be looking at. So when we talk about the Faces on Fire framework, there are four main tools that it highlights: Padlet, EdPuzzle, Mentimeter, and Flipgrid. And many of you have used these tools already. So in this, that's why I wanted to do a toolbox. If anyone has ever been in a toolbox session, I just kind of throw tools at you. It's not a work session where we work on signing up and going through the process. I just throw a lot of tools at you. And some we spend time on and some we go right through when it's pretty self-explanatory. And if there's anything anyone wants to spend a little more time on, that's cool. Just shout it out. There is a QR code up here, and it's on every slide. That'll let you make a copy of the slide deck, which has all the tools, and there's a lot of links in there that are helpful. There's also a link to a type of form. It's not a Microsoft form. Those are okay, but it's a true type form. And it's a little friendlier, so that might be a tool that you want to use in the future. So moving right along, we're going to start with EdPuzzle. EdPuzzle has been in the district for a little over a year now. It's a great tool for teachers to use their own videos or use videos they find on YouTube, and you can insert questions in them. And you could also find not only grab videos from YouTube or your own, but there's pre-made ones that other teachers have made. So this will be the first time. Let me go to the next slide before I leave. There is a link right here, Share in District. That will show you the teachers in Monticello who are using EdPuzzle and what they're doing with it. Before I go to the site, I will caution, EdPuzzle is one of the very few tools that we use that doesn't go right in through ClassLink. The kids will have to create a username and password. And I'm telling the teachers this because it's probably a good practice to get them to use the same type of cadence, to do like the district has first name, period, last name. Well, EdPuzzle doesn't like periods, but maybe do first name, last name, and then use the same hashtag password that we use here in district, just to make it easy and so that everybody has along the same lines. If students have used it last year, they'll go in under the same password and username they used last year. And with EdPuzzle, it's also a little different in that the teacher manages the students' accounts. Not that they get accounts with the ability to do anything except see your classes, but you as a teacher can change their username. You as a teacher can reset their password for them. And there's really nothing else that gets done with their account, because all they do with their account is attach themselves to whatever class code they're sent. So I'm gonna, Teams is a little wacky this way, so I'm gonna unshare and then reshare. And then I'm gonna go back to screen. And for right now, I'm gonna go over to EdPuzzle. So here's a quick overview. Right now I'm in the site and I am signed in. There's a few things I can do from here. Let me maximize this. I could add content, my own. I can upload a video. I can even record a video. So this is kind of nice. EdPuzzle lets you do a screen recording. So you could record what's on your screen with a voiceover, and it's nice. They also do a thing called a student project, which is new, and I'm not really overly familiar with student project, but if you're interested in it and look at it and still can't figure it out, let me know and we'll sit down and talk. Right now it opens up in the Discover tab, and I can discover things on my network. This brings me to some familiar names. Hey, who's that guy? Their names in the district. YouTube, these are videos only found on YouTube or in the community, meaning local. I could narrow it down by subject and save, and then grade level, and then save, and it filters it like that. If there's a video that I really like, I can click on it, and it's still the property of Casey, but I want it for mine. So I can click copy, and this makes a copy for me to, I can watch it, assign it, or I can move it into my own classes. However, you're probably going to want to edit it first. This video doesn't have any questions. I know that because there's no dots alongside. From here, I can play it. I can take the scrubber and move it so I can zoom along. I can also cut from one end or the other. Now, mind you, I already made a copy of it, so this is not going to destroy that other teacher's property. I can add a voiceover if it's not a YouTube video. Voiceovers have been disallowed. It's a YouTube term of service, as you see. I can add questions, so I can add multiple choice questions, open-ended questions, or I could just add a note in there. So when the video is playing for the students, the video will stop at a point that I put a question or a note, and it will show for the students. And it's on them to start the video again, to answer the question if it's a question, or to acknowledge that they've read the note. I'm going to click finish and go back to my content. real quick. This is my content. Now, over the years, I collected a lot of video. These are folders that I have videos in. See, if I wanted to say all the videos, they're there, and I don't have any projects. My classes, these are the last classes I had when I was teaching up in the middle school, but I could add a class very easily. And look, this is pretty good news. They're coming to Microsoft Teams, so it will be embedded, which will make the whole process very easy. To add a class, you just add a name, a description, and it'll give you a class code. And then you just send the class code to the students through Teams, and they get prompted to go to EdPuzzle. At that point, they should have a username and password. So I'm going to unshare and reshare quickly again so we can move to the next tool. Teams is as fast as ever. Love it. Here we go, back to the beginning. And the next tool would be Padlet. Now, Padlet has been around for years, and if you were lucky enough to get with Padlet in years past, you had up to 20 free Padlets or online bulletin boards that you could put together. Now Padlet only offers 3, which is quite a difference. There is no district account. The paid account just affords you more Padlets. Now, there's a few ways around that. One, if you're an elementary teacher, and a lot of you are, 3 Padlets is probably perfect because you're only probably using 1 a day, if that. We all know if we use a tool too much, the kids get bored with it. But secondary, when you have 5, 6 periods a day, 3 doesn't cut it because you want 1 for each period. Well, there's a way, as you go into the Padlet, you could save what you're doing as a picture, an image, or as a PDF. If you don't care about the imagery, the background that's in the Padlet, then the PDF will give you just the data, like who participated, who contributed to the Padlet, and maybe you want to give a grade based on participation with the Padlet. I managed to say Padlet a lot there. All right, so as you can see, I don't read the slides really, I just kind of talk with them. So if there's something you're missing, scan that QR code. That way you have it on your phone or whatnot. Let's go to Padlet now, briefly. So I'm going to stop presenting, share my screen, and let's find Padlet. I think I might have shut it down. Oh, here it is. Okay, so Padlet, when you go in, it's not very inviting, but it is very clear what to do because right up here, it lets you make a Padlet. All the Padlets that you've made, at least the last 8, are right here. When you click to make a Padlet, it gives you a few options. These 4 on top are different layouts of the same type of online bulletin board. You could do a map, which is super cool, or a timeline. The canvas is another, it really should be up here, but the map and the timeline are pretty cool. I'll take a minute to show the map, especially if you're teaching something with geography. It really comes in handy. Now, Padlet likes to name your Padlet for you, and you can always go back and change it. This one's my fancy Padlet, and I never used to change these, but my students really, they would tease me a little bit. So I'm going to say my test Padlet. That's not right. Test Padlet. And it gives a description. You don't have to give a description at all, or you could leave it. You can put an icon up there next to the information, go back, and there's different map styles you could choose based on what you want the students to focus on. I'm going to take that map style and go back, and what I really like here is there's a profanity filter right there. For some, depending on the grade level especially, that's very useful. You can share your Padlet with kids at home by clicking on the link, copying to clipboard. You could also, let me start. You could also share by a QR code. And that way the students in the room can share it. What I like to do is I like to download the QR code and put it onto the Padlet. So if I save that, now it's in my downloads, and I can go, I'm going to close that. I can go up here, and so when students get in here, they'll see on their iPads a big plus, or on, on the screen. It doesn't have to be an iPad. To add, they could either type in a spot on the map, and I have choices. So now I'm going to add a take photo. I want to add a picture. And this is just like any other program. You get the file, and I'm going to click publish. And now over Monticello is our QR code. Now, if we have students in the room that you want to contribute to the Padlet, they can scan this with their iPad or their tablet. I know we have one high school teacher here, and then participate right away. This is the map one. I'll just show you real quick what a normal Padlet looks like. This is a wall. I'm going to select it, and it looks similar, but you can change the wallpaper. I like a corkboard. Let's find it. You can do a map. That's not confusing at all for what we're doing, although this is kind of cool. So you got the ocean if you're talking about the sea, and then students can add stuff. Start posting, and the plus is hidden. So I could say Tim, and I want to add that QR code, publish it, and now all the students can scan, hit the plus, and they can add their own stuff. That's Padlet in a nutshell. And again, this being a toolbox, I'm kind of throwing stuff out at you, and I might pick up speed because we're about a third done. So I'm going to stop sharing, reshare again. This is not fun for me doing that, so I apologize, but now that's the fun way that Teams likes to do PowerPoints. I'm going to resume. That's pretty cool. I like that. Different ways you could use Padlet. They're all right there. I don't need to read them to you. There is a cool article I found about using Padlet for self-reflection. So you can check that out. And again, those are all going to be on if you take the QR code, you can get all those links. Flipgrid is pretty awesome. It's really good to use with our mobile devices, whether it's an iPad or a tablet. It works. Sorry about that. It works great. What happens most of the time is the teacher will make a video prompt between like 10 and 30 seconds usually, and then the students will get a link just like with EdPuzzle, and they'll make an audio response. However, Flipgrid makes it very easy for kids who are shy, who don't want their face shown. They could put a big emoji over their face or something like that. So they don't have to show their face. It's more about just participating. And again, there's a link on here with specific instructions from Monticello. Shows you in those instructions how to fill out and set up your class. So if you're intending on using Flipgrid, I suggest copying that down, the QR, and I think we're going to stop talking about the QR. I'm sure you're all tired of hearing it. However, when you're signing up a class, it's important to note how to put them in. You need the at K12 MCSD.net for all the students, plus at students.k12 MCSD.net. It's just a little, it seems not important, but we need to keep the students' privacy at a premium. Mentimeter is a nice presentation tool. It used to be just a like an on-the-spot polling tool, but now it's a presentation tool also. It has a paid version, but we frown on the paid version. It's like $100 for one teacher to have a paid version. So, but I really like it for what it does. So I'm gonna cut to Menti real quick and ask you all to participate. So let me stop presenting. Let me share my screen and Mentimeter. So if you on another tab on a computer or on a mobile device, go to www.menti.com and use the short code 72449878. And if you could put down which tool made you sign up for this session, please don't put me because I've been told the tool too many times today. I'm
Tim,
sorry, what?
Can you put in the chat the code that you're talking about, please? Thank you.
Well, it's right on the screen.
Is it? Oh, okay. I see it. Thank you.
You're welcome. I shall put it in the chat too, as I am on two different devices. I did add it to the chat for those of you who can't see it. Oh, nice. So this is a nice, what do you call it, word cloud that it makes. It's just one of a few different options. It looks like everyone's here for EdPuzzle and Flipgrid. Yikes, hope you stick around. And it looks like we have an even number of more people for EdPuzzle, so that's good. As more people type in the same answer, it gets bigger and they'll move around. I don't know if we have a lot of participating. All right, here we go. So, and I know I already talked about these tools, so I'm hoping that you'll find something in the next half hour that you'll be like, oh, I love that. I'm going to use that as well. And if you want to talk more about Flipgrid, EdPuzzle, or Padlet, please, look in my email, or Lisa and John. We all have appointments. Oh, good. Jean Lee and Wakelet. I think someone's just helping me out and throwing those up there. Whiteboard. I love Whiteboard.fi. That's one of my favorites. All right, so that's pretty much Menti, and we'll do another Menti at the end. But if you go to Mentimeter.com, that's what will let you create an account, and you could make, I think you can only make 3 slides. For this occasion, I made 2 slides. With 2 slides, super easy, super quick, and you can use them over and over. Let me bounce back to the PowerPoint. And all right, so I am in classroom screen. No, you're not. You're not with me. Why aren't you with me? Do you all see EdPuzzle? You're seeing classroom screen? Oh, that's great. Okay, good. I think I have to leave the meeting on my second device. It's all right. So classroom screen is super cool. It's really great if you have a smart board. It's nice to put in just in the background. Let me go to it really quick. So I'm going to stop presenting my screen again. Here is classroomscreen.com. There's all different tools down at the bottom you could check out. There's a few that I want to show you right now. One, I loaded in the names that were signed up. So there's a name chooser, and you can save it, and it'll save up to 3 different sets. So you could pick a random name pretty nicely. The backgrounds, there's a bunch of photos, and then there's also animated backgrounds. So you can see the I don't know if there's a leg or anything, but you can see there's a water running in this one. Was it nice? There's a few really cool ones. The leaves are supposed to be moving on this one, but I don't think they are. You can put up your procedure for the day, your routine, then it can be moved around. Calendar, there's super nice things. You get a timer going, stopwatch. I don't know what the difference really between them. QR code, so you could type in a name of a site and it'll make a QR code for it, which is nice for the kids in the room. It's free. You don't even have to log in. You could just start using it. So I'm going to move back to the PowerPoint. All right, so let's talk a little bit about whiteboards. It wouldn't be a Teams meeting if we were to forget the Teams whiteboard. Teams Whiteboard just last week got a lot of improvements. So that might be the one you want to use. If it's not, Whiteboard.fi and Whiteboard.chat are amazing. I love them both. Let me first take us into a whiteboard, Microsoft Whiteboard. And you can choose whether you want to present only or to collaborate as a teacher. Unfortunately, you're not seeing that choice. There are tools that we've always had up here, drawing tools, eraser. You could put sticky notes, either one sticky note or grids of sticky notes, and have students participate, have students join in and type right on them or write. And now I can, I always have the students type their name first and then whatever they're going to say. If I want to go, where are my, I think my tools are being covered up. Okay, so I could type on the screen somewhere. Now I can choose images and put images on the whiteboard. You couldn't always do that before. And you can also, this, I love this. There's templates you could add. So if you wanted some brainstorming templates, I don't really, that really doesn't look like a school age level. Sorry, I'm being blocked by little pop-ups on my screen. You can react to each other's things that others put up there. There are game templates. There are, and it's not letting me. There's a few things that's because I'm recording, I think is going super slow. Anyway, this is why I stopped using the Microsoft Whiteboard in the first place, because it went super slow. So I'm gonna get out of here. Stop presenting, and I'm gonna go to Whiteboard.fi. Whiteboard.fi is really great. That's Whiteboard chat. Whiteboard.fi is really great. You could sign up, or you could just start new right in without logging in. There's no need. You can click new class, type in whatever name you want the students to see. You don't need an email. Maybe you do now. That's new. You can have a waiting room or not. I choose not when I'm in a whiteboard. Whiteboard.fi gives everybody their own whiteboard. So if they're all on devices, it works great. So I'm going, I thought I created a new one. Maybe I had to put in an email. I didn't have to just last night, so apologize, bear with me. Okay, I think I just needed, so you can give the students, a URL, copy it to the clipboard, or you could show, I'll put this in the chat. Let me go back to Teams for a minute and get up the chat. So I threw it in the chat, and I don't know if you can get to it while I'm sharing my screen. However, so how it shows up for teachers, your whiteboard is right here, and the students will all show up down here as they log in. So Dave and Diana have joined already. You can make shapes, you can draw, you can add pictures. And then we can do something called pushing. You can push all page. So now when I look at everybody's board, that showed up on everybody's board. It works nice with things like, and I'm going to get out of Teams. So let me go back to, I have some examples in the PowerPoint I'd like to show you. Again, I can come in, Lisa or John can come in, and we could go over Whiteboard.fi. However, if you just playing around with it, it's super intuitive, very easy to use. I've pushed things like this out to a class, lower, younger, and they typed an answer. You could do something like a drag and drop, put their names in, and they put it where it should go. Short answer, where they make a little sticky note and answer your question. You could do mind maps with it and have everybody participate with their own circle. And now I can't get further. I've done this with foreign language, where they would have a story and the students would highlight a spot where the story was taking place, wherever it may be. Moving on to Wakelet. Wakelet is, again, it's one of those tools that once you go on, it's super intuitive and very easy to use. I think all of these tools that we've looked at today are real simple to use. Wakelet, I like to think of like a safe Pinterest. When as adults we use Pinterest, sometimes things show up that, oh yikes, we're glad that there's not a younger person around. Wakelet is like a safe Pinterest where your collection of pictures and anything really with a link, anything that you can link to, you can put in a Wakelet collection, and then you could share that. So if you wanted to make, like have the students do a project or an assignment, and you only wanted them to use a couple of resources, you could make a Wakelet and put those resources in the Wakelet, share that link, and they don't make accounts or anything. They would just follow your link and see what you're sharing with them. Of course, you could do that in Teams as well, just share links, but this is more formal. They have a destination, they're in there, and there's more boundaries there, I feel like. So again, I'm going to leave the presentation, jump into Wakelet, and I just lost my team. I apologize about that. Screen, and this is my Wakelet. So when you go into Wakelet, you'll make an account and you'll see a screen. All this will be blank except for the plus to create a new collection. You create your profile. There are many levels. You can create new collections. You can create collections of collections, which are called boards. It's really up to you. So as you click to create a new collection, you'll have different different presentation of your links. The column view is new. I've never, it wasn't there yesterday. So the media view piles everything on top of each other. The mood board appears very haphazard. It's a little confusing for some. The grid view is like the media view, very structured, and the compact view gives you the headlines only. So if I go here, you just give it a title, test. You could give it a description, you could give it a cover image, and then you could add text into it. You could add images. You could actually upload a PDF into it, which is nice. And then you could add things like you could link a tweet, you could link a video from Flipgrid, you could link YouTube videos, you could link things from your OneDrive. So if you have a collection in your OneDrive and you want to bring it over here because you think it'll look cool, think it'll be good for students, you could certainly do that. Let me go back and I'll show you. So one of mine is this digital citizen resource for parents, and it's the view where there's one
Good afternoon, RJK.
right on
With
top
the family
of another.
engagement team, please meet me in the iHelp Cafe. The family engagement team, meet in the iHelp Cafe. Thank you.
So this is the headline only view. If I go back, this is not the headline. This is the media view where everything's right on top of each other, but in full. Let's see, what else do I have? So in parent-teacher resources, this I put in the more of a haphazard view. So everything feels like it's on level. That gives me a little anxiety. I really love this though. I stole it, but it's a 5 Giphy story. It would be an assignment for the students to have these 5 GIFs or GIFs, however you prefer to say it, and they make a story out of it. I thought it was kind of nice, and you could make it as complex or as simple as you want. That's Wakelet in a nutshell. It lets you share things. Let me go back here for a second. So if I wanted to share this, I could invite other people to collaborate. I can embed it. I can put it in Teams, post it on Twitter or Facebook if I wanted to, QR code or a link. So there are many different media to use, to share. This would be to share the collection, to view, or I could go here and invite collaborators. And you can do that with any of them that you do share. You go back to the beginning. We have about 10-12 minutes left only. And I'm getting exhausted at this pace, but I know people wanted to see Genially, and I love that tool. However, I have not used it nearly to its fullest. Before I do though, so if you save the QR code, you can look at some of the different ways people have used Wakelet. And there's the QR code, my 5 Giphy story, that's one of them. Meet the teacher is a nice thing. Genially lets you make presentations. It's the only site that I've found to let you make infographics anymore for free. Every other site that used to let you, suddenly they're paid. This is still free. interactive images. If you've ever used a tool called ThingLink, they're very expensive and they're not EdLaw 2D compliant. This lets you make interactive images. It lets you make video presentations. I'm going to use it to make some training materials, reference guides, and then if you don't like any of those, you could start with a blank slate. So let's take a look at that. Again, you sign up, register. It's very simple. It's free. I'm in the free version. When you first come in, you're actually not in the dashboard, but you're just in a blank. I don't want to make it seem more than it is, because when you first come in, it doesn't seem like there's much to it. Actually, that's exactly what it was. So if I want to create a genially, I choose presentations or graphics, gamification. I let that out. You choose infographics because I find this one to be the most interesting. You can do horizontal ones, which are not very popular, or you could also do, and there's a lot, the vertical ones, which is the one that I think most of us are familiar with. The ones with the stars are the paid ones. So if you come up here, you can toggle and choose only free. So I'm going to take premium out.
Tim?
And now everything you see
sharing your screen
is a free one. Oh, let me go back. Thank you. It's a little. Still not sharing. Now I'm sharing. Okay. So I'm at Genially, GENIAL.ly. And when you get there, I'm going to go back. Here's what you can create, and they're all different topics right down here. I like the infographics, like I said. I can toggle because now it's showing me everything. All these with the little star on them are the premium ones that I don't get. So if I uncheck premium, now everything is free. And I was just here the other day, and all these are new from then. So they keep adding. These are all vertical, but down here are the horizontal. And let's say I wanted that one. I can click use the template. And it's preparing the template. It's very interactive, and you can add interactive elements throughout. And you could add different pages to it. If you want to add a link from one page to the next, you can. Let me go in and add something. There's my tools. So I can change things like the colors, but I could also click on objects. I can turn them, change them, make them bigger, smaller, and I don't see the interactive. That's not fun for me. You could add audio to it, which I kind of like. It's something the kids probably aren't used to seeing. If you double click on an item, you'll be able to change its interactivity, so it'll link to a different the selection that, so over here are the interactive elements. And so I can put a button out there and then I can choose what the button does. I can make it go to a page. I can make it go to an external link. I can make a pop-up come up for it. And there are all sorts of different shapes and images and text styles you can add to it to make it your own. And then when you're ready to share, I don't see the share. You share collaborators here. I don't see the share. I think we're going to have to get back to you about how to share a Genial with people, with students. That's disappointing. I apologize for that. Aside from that tool, do we have any questions, anything I can touch on quick about the other tools? I'm listening. All right, then I'm going to go back one more time to the toolkit. I'm going to go back to slide 20 and let's head back to Mentimeter for a moment. And I'd like to see which tool is the one you're going to use right away in your classroom. So I'm going to stop presenting, start sharing my screen, and back to Menti, my second screen. Again, it's menti.com, and the code is 72449878. It's the same code as before, but now I'm on a different slide. I know most of you are going to a 2 o'clock session. So I am too, and I have a little bit to prep for. So I'm gonna cut this a couple of minutes early if people aren't talking. So it looks like people aren't. Sometimes we gotta refresh the screen. Nope, it looks like no one's in the Menti yet.
It says that we're waiting for you to show the next slide.
Oh.
And we
Oh,
there we go. There we go.
Let me do that. I didn't have to do that on the last one. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
There's a lot of pressure looking at the audience here. There's people who know their stuff out there. This classroom screen is super cool, for sure. So genially, I've seen it used as as choice boards. There's a really cool version of drag and drop. I found on YouTube how to make a drag and drop activity in Genially. Yeah, Flipgrid, I feel bad for Flipgrid. I feel almost like I did a disservice to it with the Toolbox. I could actually probably spend a good 20 minutes, half hour on Flipgrid alone. It is one of my favorites. And Flipgrid, like EdPuzzle, also lets you do a screencast. So if you want to record, it's called a short. They let you do a 10-minute quick little short. But classroomscreen.com is clearly the winner.